Good morning. My name is Mike, and today I'm going to cover a topic called getting this Mega to work with Xlights. I think the Arduino folks are kind of left high and dry when it comes to Xlights and the generic serial. There's one guy who has a video out there that tries to explain it. So really, what ends up happening is I have a Mega, I have one Mega, I have another Mega. This is my second Mega, and then also I have over there is a what do you call it, nano every. So anyway, what I wanted to do is I wanted to go and have communication between the first Mega and the second Mega, and that's always, if you want to test things out and everything, it becomes a pain. So I really kind of want to test. I want to basically be able to control each controller, and there's really no documentation out there. So instead of listening to me drone on, I'm going to get on my computer. Next thing you're going to see is I'm going to get on my computer and I'm going to go over how to set up Xlights to talk to this guy right here. So I just showed you my Mega, and now let's go through this Xlights application. So one of the first things you're going to have to do is find out which COM port. I'm a Linux guy mostly. I do also a lot of Mac work, but Windows does a good job of letting you know where your devices are connected to. So the first thing you want to do is you want to go to your control panel, go into your device manager, go down to ports and comms, and you'll see that the Arduino Mega 2560 is hooked up to COM5. So bookmark in your head, COM5. So now we know that the Mega is hooked up to COM5. We're going to come back to the Xlights. Now Xlights is kind of like think of it as a cake or a house, and you're building a house. In this house, you're going to have your foundation, you're going to have your main areas, and then you have your attic, whatever. Well, let's think of it as a cake. So your controllers are pretty much your foundation. So everything is kind of built up on the previous steps. So controllers are your base, basically your foundation. And when you add a controller, in my case is going to be the Mega, you're going to enter this information. The information here on the right is where you edit the information, which will be reflected back over here. Now, when you create, in this case, everything's going to be hooked up through USB. You'll see that it's defaults the protocol DMX, of course, and which COM ports. You're going to have to change all that if you're going to use the generic serial. But I just wanted to show it to you. And of course, the generic serial is the last guy in the batch because no one cares about us. Okay, so in this case, the name, you can give it any name here. It's serial to Mega. I just gave it S2M1 and got S2M2, S2M3. So I'm going to have to continue with this. Description, this could be blank, but I like to add stuff here. ID, not really sure what this whole universe thing is. I think you're going to have like maybe a couple hundred or 250 controllers or things hooked up to your Vixen lights, and then you have to create another universe. Excuse me. Active, you're going to leave. You're not going to hit auto size because I like to have granular control. It's up to you guys, but I like to have granular control of what I'm doing. Active, yes. Leave this blank. Now here's where again, when we said we bookmarked in our head what COM port our Mega was hooked up to. Here you're going to enter the COM port where Xlights is going to talk to the Mega, COM5. Now watch this. Of course, DMX, Lure, all those guys are in the top of the list. And here's the lonely bastard generic serial at the very bottom. So there we go, generic serial. Speed, I'm probably going to bump this up to 57.6, but you got to remember the speed here has to match the speed in your script for your Arduino. Then prefix and postfix. What I like to do is I like to bookend my packets of information that I'm sending over. Vixen had this. I was a big Vixen 2.1 fan. So what you have here is you have your prefix and your postfix. You can use pipes. You can use pipe delimiters. You can do almost anything. You can have A and Z, whatever you want to do. I like using this because it's like an HTML throwback. And I have 52 channels that I'm going to be working with. Excuse me. After you're all said and done, you save it, you come over here, boom. Okay, so next we got to go to the layout. This is your next layer in your cake. So take a picture of your house, you can add it in here, and then I think, what did I do? There we go, that's cool. I forgot about this. Anyway, all this stuff works, and I'm going through it because as I progress and as I become better versed in Xlights, I'm going to probably forget all the things I struggled with. So I'm documenting what I struggled with to help people that are in a similar situation as I am right now. And so you have to add all these pretty much individually. It's going to take time. It took me hours to do this. So and what I'll do is I'm going to add something just to demonstrate. Let me come over here, get rid of this guy because I want to start off from scratch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, these are your available, I guess, displays that you can add. I guess that's the best way to describe them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say create a new string of lights. And when you put it, I'm going to put it along my walkway here, right? This wall. I do have something, but I'm not. Okay, so that's the wall. So then this string of lights. Now what I like to do is I like to put a number in front of the descriptive name. That way if I sort items, because I like to sort items in certain ways. So in this situation, the single line I'm going to put in is, since I have, first let me see how many channels do I have. I have actually 51 channels. So what I'm going to do, and if I sort it by this way, I'm going to call it 52 dot test line. So if I sort, it's going to go up to the bottom. It's going to go to the bottom, to the bottom, top or to the bottom. Number of strings. Here's where it starts getting interesting. I don't have it. They almost like it's almost every one of these is individually controlled. I think because it's a 2811 string. But I like, this is like basically an incandescent string of bulbs or whatever, LED bulbs that I'm just going to plug into my Mega. Actually, my Mega controls my Saint Smart relays, and my relays turn on and off, and will turn on a string or not. They'll turn on a string. So in this situation, what I'm going to do is I have one string. I have one node. I'm going to call it one node, and then lights is 50. This value right here is purely, it's just for display purposes only. So really, in the display, it's going to show you 50 lights, but really that's all it's going to do. It's not going to send 50 pieces of information to your Mega. This is actually where, green square, don't worry about it. What it does is, I think, is like if you're doing a 2811 or whatever, it controls, if they're addressable strings, then it kind of controls it that way. Controller, I'm going to say use the start channel, and I'm going to make it a 52, like that. And then port has to be 1. And notice how it says it's a generic serial over here then. I don't know why it does that. It's kind of weird. This is a little bit kludgy going on here. Now, string type. If notice how it goes 52, it uses up start channels 52, 53, and 54. But I'm really sending, I want to have a byte going, controlling a string that's going to turn on and off this string. So I don't know why. So the problem is that it's if it's like a RGB, which I do have in these arches on my house, those are 3 different channels on a board that I built that I don't want controlled through here. I'm going to control everything through my Arduino. So really, every channel on here is I like to control it. This is kind of alien to me. Maybe I'm missing something. I probably am missing something. But what I'll do is I'll make this a single color, and what ends up happening is the start and end channel are both 52. And of course you could change this to any color you want. Let's just make this, actually, I usually have this as purple. A string of purple lights. It's a Candyland. Let's go back here. I think the number of lights per string got changed back for some reason. There we go. So that's really kind of the display. So now I have 52 channels here. Okay, so that's that. All right, but I'm gonna get rid of this bad boy here. Delete. I'm not deleting the empty group. I think if you hit the delete button on your keyboard, you can get rid of that guy. All right. So now I have my display. I went around. I put everything in generic serial. I made sure that I want to, channels 1, 2, 3. The problem here, of course, is um, actually this is messed up a little bit here in the very beginning because I was playing around. But anyway, like I have PWM channels. Like the Mega only has so many PWM, and PWM can control brightness, whereas the other ones are just on off when you're sending it to your relays. Because I have these solid state relays that I'm just controlling. So with the solid state relays, you can have different levels of brightness versus mechanical relays. So and that's all controlled through your PWM, but you only get like a dozen PWMs. So you have 52 channels, but you get like a dozen PWM channels on a Mega. So really, you have to wire your Mega in a certain way, and you have to address it in a certain way. So I'm not going to get into that, but it just letting you know that's how if you want to control an individual light, like over here, jingle, this is a string of lights. So it's basically a string of lights that's going around this PVC loop, and I turn it on and off. And so that's really channel 13, and channel 13 reminds me of a PBS station here in New York. But channel 13 is just a single light that I turn on and off, which turns on and off the string, and through that I can have animations going up and down through these loops. So through strings 13, strings jingle 1 through jingle 8 are really these loops through these different channels that I just turn it on and off. Okay, and the reason there's a gap in here is because I'm purposing, let's say 17 and 18, because I think those are PWMs, I think. I forgot. No, they're not PWMs, but I do have, or I might have burnt out some of my pins. So the last layer is a sequencer. Now in Vixen, remember Vixen, I have like an old Vixen sequence over here. If you added, different, elements into your sequence, then you kind of had to go back and do it. Do every single, you have to change almost every single script, and I guess that was a pain in the ass, right? So in this situation here is you have your layout. Your layout is kind of done, and now you can build lots of different sequences on that layout. So, and if the layout does change, or if you add some things, you can change your sequences. You can import values into your sequence without screwing everything up. So here's where it gets a little funky, okay? Is that you have this master view. In this master view, by default, you just have this one master view, and the master view it's all jumbled together. There's really no rhyme, no reason. I think it's like, last man out, last man in is the first guy out. So there's really no smarts to how this is done. Okay. Having a little bit of coffee as I do this. Okay. So what you want to do is you want to go and, let me see, view, window, display elements. So view, window, display elements. And here's the master view. And if you look at the master view, there's, it's all over the place. So I'm going to create, so if you're like me, you want to have this kind of nice and ordered. So what you can do is keep the master view around, but then clone it. Okay, and here's the copy of the master view. You could rename it to, let's call it foobar, the old foobar view. And what you'll have to do is order the, you can drag and drop like that. So face, let's say guitar, drum goes up there. So you're gonna have to order it yourself. You're gonna have to order it in the way you want it to be ordered. There's no there's no order clicky thing that you can sort it, whatever. You're going to have to order these values to what you want. Okay, so really that's pretty much it. I do have this called the working view, which is my view, and it's sorted on, of course, the names that I've created by prefacing everything with a number. Okay, so let's get rid of foobar. So right now my working view, I feel like Rachel Ray when she has everything all done. Here you have your working view where everything is all done. I've already sorted this. Okay, so then when you come back here, I have my working view. That's the I'm sorry. There's the master view, which is like a kind of mishmash. Say it's like 33, 42, 2, 3. It's just it's all over the place. You have 20, 35. It's all over here, and then your working view. And look how nicely everything is sorted. Okay. So that's that part. Then the other thing that was kind of like a mystery to me was how do you go and, like in Vixen, I can go over here, pick a whole bunch of things and just hitting the space bar, I can turn on and off. Man, I do miss this program. Anyway, hit the space bar and it's done. You do this, it's on. So these are on, these are off. Well, how do you do that in Xlights? We kind of have to come over here, and grab this guy and kind of go like this, and that's on. So for this situation, this entire situation is for this from period 20 seconds to a minute and 20 seconds, this channel is going to be on. What about ramping on and ramping off? So for example, in Vixen, you could take this guy right here. Let's just say this was my PWM channel. I could go like this and ramp up. So now you'll see an intensity, and what that does is it sends the values in generic serial. Will send the value of 0 to 255 or FF to actually it's FF that will be send across. So it's actually 255 to your generic serial interface. Here, what you have to do is kind of like you have to pick this guy. Let me make him smaller. Highlight him, and then the start intensity is like that. And then if you want to ramp down, you have to take this guy and kind of go like this. Oh, this guy right here is going to be start intensity is high and the end intensity is low. So you're going to have that. So that's going to send the values, the start and intensity. So that's the equivalent of what we did in Vixen. The one thing I can't find the equivalent of is in Vixen. There was this guy right here where you could test your channels and you could turn on and off individual channels, and those strings are being sent over to your interface. I don't know how to do this in Xlights. I'll have to look that up. So really, that's pretty much how Xlights works. Is the hardware that you're going to be talking to. In our case, we're going to be talking about we're going to talk to Arduino. It could be Uno, Nano, whatever. The layout. The layout is the different components that make up your display. They are what they are, and you can have different sequences based upon the components that you have. So here we go. We discussed about the. So let's go into layout. These are the different pieces. Then, of course, the sequencer, which then takes what your different components, and we went over the working view versus the master view. Master view is garbage, has random order. The working view is based upon the order that you specify, and this is what you're going to be sending. We talked about ramping on, ramping off, different effects, because we're just trying to mimic what we had in Vixen. But you play the sequence. When you hit this play button and you play the sequence, you're going to hear the music. You're going to do all. You're going to see. You're going to see in this model over here, lights coming on and off. But then your Mega, of course, is going to be dead. You're going to go crazy. What the hell is going on? The secret here is this little button right here. So as you click it, what ends up happening is now bytes are being sent to your Mega. I haven't traced the bytes themselves, but what I would imagine is happening is that it's sending blank strings across. So really, that's pretty much the magic of this. What I've just gone through will get you started on your journey. Finally, if you want to test everything out, this is the script. I'm going to put this on GitHub. It's going to. I'll put a link. I'll put a link in when I post this video, and also in this video. It will be somewhere along this video, along the bottom here. So really, pretty much, I took the Blink program that comes with the IDE when you install Arduino. You get a program. Blink is one of the default programs. So what I did is I just moved it. I moved the actual blinking to a routine, and then to a function. And then the loop, you can't really have your variables in here because loop is called all the time. So your variables will continuously be reset. So really, it's really kind of simple. If you see the left-hand side, which is one of the parameters that we had over here, let's go back to the controllers. This guy right here says, okay, start reading. Packets are starting to be read. I set my read flag to true. Then I'm not going to actually record that, and then I'm going to start processing the byte. I'm going to process the bytes as they come across the wire. And then once I see that, I'm done. And then, of course, I actually I was watching the blinking going on and counted how many blinks were going on. So I'm actually saying count the number of channels. This blink is basically saying count the number of channels. That should be it. What I might do is I might post a follow up with another quick blurb about the Mega as I run this. And that's it. Thanks. Okay, just to show I'm not crazy. So if we look at tools, you're going to see a Mega 2560. The processor, it's hooked up to COM5. The code that's on GitHub. We're going to upload this bad boy. Okay, it's been done. It's done uploading. Now we're going to go. Hold on there a second there, buddy. I'm going to come over here. This is the Xlights application. Same thing that I showed you guys before. I'm now going to click this little button. Click. And there, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm not going to count them all. It's 52. All right. That's about it. Good luck. Leave comments in the section if you guys need more help. I'm going to need help with this stuff. And all right. Good luck, guys.